Next, we have a full 8-boat flight in this men's Open H single final. We see them lined up now in the starting blocks. Closest on screen here, but farthest from shore, is Richard Stout of Delta Deas. In lane 7 next to him, Philip Johnson of Minneapolis. Lane 6, Piper Stevens of Rocky Mountain. Lane 5, Edgar Nane of Amitlan. We have Swan Creek's Ted Peitler in lane 4. Lane 3, Richard Anderson of Detroit. Alexander Community's Jamie Rubini in lane 2, and Bill Lepard representing Independence in lane 1.
I have to say these were fun heats to watch this morning. Some amazing stroking there from Ted Peitler from Swan Creek and Edgar Nan from Amatelon. Piper Stevens did a fantastic job. Richard Anderson from Detroit. I mean, every rower in this race really put themselves out there. But out there right now, early, Richard Anderson from Detroit and Ted Peitler from Swan Creek. But as you can see, they are not that much further ahead. They're through the first 250, and we'll see them probably begin to spread out a little bit. But Richard Stout, Philip Johnson, Piper Stevens, these three in the foreground, lined up pretty well, chasing Edward Dan of Amatelon, who is chasing Ted Peitler from Swan Creek. Then on the other side, it's Richard Anderson of Detroit, Jamie Rubini of Alexandria, I think that's his thing there, and Bill Lepard of Independence. So as we can see, I think I'm missing somebody there, at least in that shot. So yes, it does look like Richard Stout might be a little bit off the pace and just behind this group. Indeed, there's a lane about number 7 there, down in there. So Philip Johnson, Piper Stevens, Edgar Nan, all chasing Ted Peitler and Richard Anderson.
I did catch Edgar at the registration desk, met him for a brief moment, representing Amatitlan. I believe that is out of Guatemala, and look at that long travel to get here, good strokes out of that crew in lane 5, just taking a little bit of an advantage now at the 500-meter mark over Ted Peitler of Swan Creek.
Indeed. Now, Ted did finish fast, but we also saw a good row from Richard Anderson, and evidently Richard might have been concealing a little bit because he is out by almost 2 boat lengths of open water. And boy, he just kicked up his pace too. He said, "The heck with this. I'm going to go to town. I want that gold in the men's Open H." He just kicked up the rate, as you can see as we go overhead. Richard Anderson from Detroit in lane 3, trying to make a little bit of space and maybe fend off some of that competition. You can see how far he got in front of Ted Peitler from Swan Creek right there. But I think he felt that pressure more from Edgar Nan.
Absolutely. Edgar Nan won his heat, the Heat 2, coming into this final with a time of 4:12. Richard Anderson second in that and 4:17. And Ted was reserving a little bit, and he came in with a time of 4:28. So interesting battle there coming out of the heats and seeing how they laid down their strategies here in the final.
So we're looking at Richard Anderson out front with close pursuit from Edgar Nan. And then both Ted Peitler and Philip Johnson from Minneapolis there in lane 7. He's right up there with Ted, so there might be a battle for that bronze medal when they come down to the line. They are inside 250 to go. We'll see if Edgar has something that he will share with Richard, but Richard, he ain't waiting. He just picked it up and is beginning to haul. Edgar sees that. He's doing the same. We'll see how they work their way out. In the meantime, we do have that battle between Ted Peitler and Philip Johnson from Minneapolis shaping up right behind him. That will be the fight for bronze. It does look right now Richard Anderson from Detroit with the advantage for the gold as he continues to plow big, powerful strokes in the final 5, and he will cross the line for the gold in the men's Open H single. Edgar Nan crossing in second. Now here's the battle for bronze. Ted Peitler takes a glance to his left, sees Philip Johnson coming on, few pulls, and he will capture the bronze here. Now a big race for 5th between Bill Lepard and Rubini. They cross almost simultaneously, and then we saw Piper Stevens from Rocky Mountain cross, but boy, what a race there. And rounding out the field will be Richard Stout from Delta Days.